Alright, I hope everyone's doing well today, and we are going to be talking about Jianxin and why she could potentially have the highest support capabilities. Even possibly better than Reina, depending on how the rework would actually work out. But for now, I like to advertise my Discord server, which is currently pretty brand new, but we already have a couple of people joining, and I'd like for everyone to join as well so that when Wuthering Waves come out, on the day that it comes out, I would like to give away a couple of battle passes to people that will win randomly. Of course, there's going to be a roulette. But if you want to join, the Discord link is going to be in the description below. And yeah, so starting off, Jianxin, apologies for the pronunciation, is a gauntlet type user. And she's a support, of course, and has a couple of different key points that I'd like to point out right away. So the big three takeaways that I would recommend is, first of all, her shield. So her shield is pretty good, but there are a little bit of there's a little bit of a dependency on what happens there. The second one is her ultimate, which has crowd control. And her third point is the fact that she is able to buff other characters as soon as she gets out. So when she uses her outro skill, which I'll explain further in the video, she'll essentially be able to buff the person that comes in that is essentially swapped out. So, starting off, she has her basic attacks, her heavy attacks, and her normal dodge counters and whatnot. So moving on with her first skill, the resonance skill, she is able to utilize a chi counter. So if it successfully works, we'll be able to see her essentially fight back and causing error damage. If it doesn't work, then it's essentially going to be interrupted. And her ultimate, or the Resonance Liberation, essentially what it does is, if you go back to Genshin Impact, I honestly forgot the Archon, the Wind Archon, but essentially what they do is they have this kind of like black hole, and it kind of sucks everything into that black hole, right? The only issue with this ultimate is the fact that it's only gonna get the smaller mobs. It doesn't get the bosses, which is quite unfortunate. But who knows? They might change that in the rework. If they do change that, then that would be insane. That would immediately put her up, I would say, possibly in the S tier, because currently she's from the community census around an A tier, in my opinion. So yeah, so let's check out a quick video from Narushio. So we've already checked him out in the previous video for Verena, but I'd like to shout out his channel again because he did do a full showcase of all the characters. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to try out the closed beta, but we still have the video here, which is perfect. So as we're going through the video, we can see the different abilities that she uses. So she's starting off with her basic attacks, and if you noticed, you can't use her heavy attack, which is this is her trying to build up her shield. So if she doesn't get interrupted, she essentially is able to develop a fairly powerful shield. Now, if we go back to the guide, we are able to notice that she has 4 different levels for building the shield. The first rank essentially means that when she's trying to cast her shield that we just saw, it gets interrupted, which is minimal, like the lowest amount of shield you could possibly get. The second is when she, I believe, yeah, so she still gets interrupted, but it's a little bit of a longer animation, so she gets up to rank 2. And then so on and so on. So rank 3 is when she's, I believe she's still interrupted, but to the point where she's almost completed. And then rank 4 is she fully finishes her animation and gets a decent chunk. If you notice from the video, she gets a decent chunk of a shield, which is actually boosted by one of her inherent skills, I believe. Yes. So reflecting myself essentially increases the amount of shield gained, I believe. And um, her, let's see, right, so her formless release increases the resonance liberation damage, which is her ultimate, which we will see soon, by 20% as well. So you also have to remember that from what I've seen from players experiencing with Jin Yang, her main issue is the fact that her animation is very long, right? It's very long to the point where even the 50% reduction damage when she's doing that animation isn't enough. It really isn't enough. It's reduced by 50, but it's honestly kind of a death trap if you're fighting against like really tough mobs or if you're just under leveled. So you're essentially going to be losing more than you can possibly get from trying to activate the shield. So we'll see how that goes, but I just want to quickly show what the ultimate looks like. So if we look at the ultimate, it's almost going to be built up, but yeah. So if we go back, once the ultimate is built up, she's going to use her ultimate, which is pretty cool animation, and then it essentially does arrow damage and sucks the mobs in. In that case, there was only one, so it didn't really show exactly where, like how it was being sucked in, but it does get sucked in. So with that out of the way, there are a couple of key factors that I'd like to talk about, including the team synergy. So the first thing I'd say is that she definitely has a massive potential to get better. So I can definitely see her getting a lot lower animation, because the thing is, I believe the developers said that there's a definite rework for Jin Yan, so that's really nice. We don't exactly know what the rework's gonna be like, but this is my prediction. So she's either gonna have a reduction in the animation, that way the shield buildup is a lot quicker. She's either gonna have a this is kind of similar to Zhongli from Genshin Impact, but I don't think this is gonna actually happen. But she might have it so that there's 100% damage reduction, or even close to 100% damage reduction. That way, the buildup of the shield is actually beneficial, to the point where you're not gonna, feel as if you're gonna die if you stand in one place. And the third thing that I would like to predict is the fact that, you know how there's 4 different ranks to building the shields? Well, if you can reduce 2 of them and essentially have 1 or 2 different sections, I'm not sure if they're going to do that, but if they do that, the shielding would also be a lot simpler, meaning that you'd either get a less shield or more shield, right? There's there isn't 4 different types of shield, there's just 2 different types of shield, which could also be beneficial. Now, the one thing I would like to talk about is her outro skill as well. So, the outro skill essentially states that the resonance liberation damage, so this is the ultimate for other characters, is increased by 38%, and it lasts 14 seconds or until the character exits. Meaning that once Jin Yang swaps out and another character comes in, if that character ults, it does 38% more damage. Very nice. It's a pretty solid buff. And with the reworks, I can definitely see Jin Yang being one of the top competitors for support. Now, the one thing I would like to say is the fact that there are some ults, specifically Ji Yan. So if you want to go for Ji Yan, his ult is not going to work well with Jianxin, because of the fact that his ultimate is considered a heavy ultimate. It's considered a heavy ultimate, so or at least it's considered a heavy attack, so it wouldn't work properly. But there are other characters that work really well with this outro skill. I would highly recommend, if you're going to go for Yin Lin, her ultimate skill works pretty well. There's also other DPS, Calcharo, Morfetti, different other characters that could potentially work really well in the future. And supports could potentially benefit with this too. So you can potentially, if you wanted, you can have 1 main DPS and 2 supports. I'm not sure exactly how that would work, but you could definitely have, multiple different combinations for that. And yeah, so I believe that's everything that's covering Xiyan. If there's anything else I missed, let me know. But make sure to check out the Discord. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and take care.